Welcome, Dr. James Beckett, Sports Card Insights. Another panel of my card wall. This one from Ford to Fritsch. So I'll start off with, actually, really was going to start off with Whitey Ford, but before I hit Whitey Ford, I'll do Gerald Ford, the president, but also longtime congressman. But he was an All-American football player at Michigan and Yale Law. So I think I'll keep him just because even though this is a more contemporaneous card, just worth doing. Thanks, sponsors. Always try to do that, even if it's brief. The Whitey Ford that you think I'm going to pick is this visually reasonably appealing 51 Bowman, which is his rookie card. It's Ed Whitey Ford. But the one I'm probably going to pick is this, even though it's a really poor condition, but it's a kind of a novelty card, Nassau Health Ford. It's one of these that Rich and I, when we're wandering around the National or one a big show, we're looking for interesting cards. And condition wasn't a big deal. It was just, is this something we need to catalog? So that's why we really worked hard on the cataloging. DanFZ, it's not that he's unworthy, he is worthy, but I think I'm going to have better cards. This reminds me of the bronze label, which I think they're not doing anymore for BVG. That was something that we talked about. It sounded like a good idea at the time. I don't think people liked it. They like the gold label, but they don't like the white label, and they don't like the blue label, and they don't like the bronze label. I'm not sure they like the silver label. It's just people are fickle. This Nellie Fox, and he goes by Nelson or no. I have a friend, Nelson, who if I called him Nellie, he wouldn't even look up. So, Nelson and Nellie, I think Nellie Fox was a Nellie. So he wasn't a Nelson Fox to me. I think he died in the mid-'70s, but I had already started getting autographs, so I was able to get autographs from Nellie Fox. It's always better to get them before they die, and not to be morbid about it, but obviously the price is going to go way up. And so when the players are alive and they're signing, you get their autographs, and then you should get everybody you can while they're alive. This is a good example of a card that if I don't think I even thought about it at the time, but this had been it's a decent condition card with a nice autograph, and so it might have been better to do a dual grade plus autograph grade instead of no grade for the card, because I think the card is better. Uncle Jack's Jimmy Fox, one of his more obscure cards. I also have Goudies and batter ups and things like that, but I think this is just a more interesting card. Again, the obscure person is going to see it's not particularly attractive or in great shape, but it's more unusual. This is actually AJ Foyt. The argument for having this card is that it's basically a card that's racing and has an interesting story on the back, but since it's more of a caricature on the front, I think it's probably going to get relegated, not going to make the grade. I'll have other ways to get that. Terry Francona with a rookie card for the minors. I don't think he's going to make it. I think he was a really good manager, not necessarily a great player. Tommy Frasier, good friend of mine. Do not tell him that he is on the wall, but I will take it down when he comes over. I want it to be a surprise. But he was a really good football player at SMU when I was there, and was a good friend. And so, but this is his only card, and he doesn't probably even know that he has it. So when he comes, he'll be surprised, and then maybe I'll give it to him or take it down. Ford Frick, autographed. This is from the Fleer All-Time Great sets. He's probably better known now for the Hall of Fame award that's in his name. So that's. But still, was an interesting. That's a card may not make the grade eventually. Milton Friedman, not a sports figure, but this is a card. Again, I pick up interesting cards, almost always sports, but this is famous economist. But he also was a PhD statistician. I think his PhD is actually in statistics. He was at some of the national meetings that I attended back long ago, probably. Gosh, that would be in the 70s. And so he was, and I heard him speak, and I don't know that I actually met him, but but he was a giant in my industry, and had papers that were frequently referenced. Was a pretty brilliant statistician as well as economist. So that's in there. I don't know if they'll be in there forever, but Frankie Fritsch, no T in the Frisch. This is one of the gas house guys in the 30s. I don't think he's going to be in there forever. I think he was a really good player. He's a Hall of Famer. But when I was thinking about this, I thought, what would I replace him with? And I thought, in honor of my dad, I might replace Frankie Fritsch with Billy Herman, who was, my dad's favorite player, I think. So I think that's a good way to honor my dad and put it on the wall. But Frankie Fritsch, nothing wrong with him. Larry Fritsch, I'm going to keep him. I think he is an amazing guy. Again, another icon, and again, a giant in every way within the industry. He had a great mail order business, but even more, he had a fabulous collection. Fabulous collection. And he was a real student of the hobby. He didn't get a collection by outspending people, although he did have enough money to do that, I think. But then he had made his own cards, and this was just like with Mike Kramer. This wasn't, hey, I'm going to make a card. No, he made a card of the whole set, and somehow he added himself in there. And you'll notice he titled himself, his subtitle is Baseball Card Collector. He did have other sports, but he, when I spent time with him, he was through and through a baseball card collector. That was his first love and his main love. And I just got to tell you, one of the seven wonders of the collecting world was his barn, his home barn extension, all that stuff up in Wisconsin and Stevens Point. When I went up there with Pepper that time, that was just amazing to see. Just racks and racks of cards. It was like Raiders of the Lost Ark, and except they were all these older vending boxes and just amazing stuff. So thanks, Larry, for holding on to that, accumulating that, and being hospitable when we went up there. So you can remain on my wall for perpetuity. So thanks, everybody. That's it. Another episode.